This is Danny Gould with the Gould team, selling Silicon Valley. Welcome to another Silicon Valley Snapshot here for the first week of March in 2019. I'm really excited, folks. This is gearing up to be a very, very good, healthy spring season. I know that when we came into the beginning of the year, there was a lot of questions. There were a lot of questions for all you grammar nerds out there as to what was going to happen with the market. There was 2 to 3x more inventory than there was at the same time last year. Now, if you've been watching my videos for any given length of time, you'll know that the acceleration of the market is much less pronounced than it was last year. And so inventory levels have caught up, not completely caught up, but they are much more they're much closer, right, when compared to last year in many places around the county. And so we don't have any heat maps today. So if you've been watching these videos, I know that most weeks we have heat maps showing the week over week, year over year trends in every given area here in Santa Clara County. But what I wanted to talk about today was actually something a lot more, I guess, relevant to the discussion as to where is the market headed for the next 12 to 24 months, right? Because history tends to repeat itself, as we all know, right? And so why study history? Because you want to learn from the past mistakes and figure out how you can improve your tactics heading into the next recession, right? Because we all know it's going to happen. The market's going to crash, right? It's just one big bubble bath, right? We're just playing in bubbles, right? Bubbles. And so when that happens, are you prepared? And what are the leading signs of a market correction? Well, increased days on market, more inventory, absorption rate going down, pending sales down. And for a while there, we were seeing all the signs of a possible correction. Now, we're in a situation where if you are an agent, you'll agree with me on this, the market activity is very, very steady, it's very strong, and it's very similar to what we were seeing maybe like 3 years ago, 4 years ago at this same time. And so what I wanted to do was actually go back to when the last recession actually hit, which was, as we all know, 08, 09. I found this data super interesting because I want you guys to look at what's going on here. Keep in mind, this is April data and April-May data, and we're right now in like March, right? So this is what we might see in a month. So let's look at Santa Clara County statistics. This is 2008, when everything went kaput. Look at that, 5,000 homes for sale on March 31st of 2008, 1,100 pendings, right? Flash forward a year, that same time frame, 4,000, 2,200 pending, right? 2,300, 3,000, right? So then we see the reversal, right? Which is a strong indicator of an appreciating market, right? And similarly here, right? Now, think about that. 2,000 homes for sale. I can't remember the last time I saw 2,000 active single-family homes in Santa Clara County. You know, and so when we look at that data, you're probably thinking, well, why? Like, has Danny lost his marbles? Like, why is he talking to us about like data from like 7 years ago? Well, think about this, right? What goes up must come down, right? What goes up must come down. So let's look at the data from February of this year. And if you've been watching my videos for any given period of time, you'll know that, or you've already seen this graph, right? But I want to share it with those of you that haven't seen. Look at the stark difference in active homes and pending homes, right? Right? Actives, pendings, active, pending. Now, if you'll notice, more pending than active, more pending than active, more pending than active. Uh-oh. Right? So, on first glance, this might be, this is pretty indicative of of a market on the way, we're past the apex here, right? We're past the curvature, which is why now is the time. If you're a seller, why are you waiting? The market's not going to pick back up in the next year. You're not going to make more money in 12 months than you would right now. So if your game plan is to leave before the next cycle, which is like 5 to 7 years from now, what are you doing? You know, it's fascinating to me. I've heard many times from many sellers, they're just like, oh, we're going to wait for, if there's a small dip, we'll wait for it to pick back up. What? The data shows it's not now, granted, and I want to say that this is actually very, very normal for this kind of market because, what I'm about to say is very normal for this kind of market. There are still record-breaking sales happening every week in Silicon Valley. There are small little pockets where it is feast, right? And I've talked about this concept before, feast or famine, right? It's either you're going to get multiple offers, break records, and everything's going to be like hunky-dory. You win. You literally sold for the highest possible price. You won. You won the guessing game, right? But for those that don't have that fortune, right? It's famine. You're on the market for 30, 45 days, 60 days, reducing your price. Why? Because you didn't price it right the first time. So there are so many indicators right now that we are on our way down, right? So we're past the apex, and now we're kind of like coming down. Now there's going to be little blips, right? There's going to be little like hills and valleys, but then, you know, over time we're going to see the softening in the market. Now I want to be very careful with how I say this because the reality is that we do live in Silicon Valley, and I do believe that because of our location, because of our economy, and because of the unique aspect of our area, we will not get hit nearly as hard as most other areas in the United States. But that's not to say that equity won't be lost or given away in the next 12 to 24 to 36 months. Because let me tell you, people are impatient, right? The main reason that most of the people that sell in like 3 years from now, when they're selling at like 10% less than they're selling for today, it's because those people really get impatient, right? And all it takes is a couple impatient sellers in a row in any given neighborhood to give away their neighbor's equity. And it happens every time, right? They sit on the market for 30 days and they're like, you know what, sweetheart, we really, Reno's calling. We want to start gambling like yesterday. And we're just going to go. So Mr. Realtor, just slash our home price by 100K. Let's just sell it now, right? And it takes a few of those for the market to kind of follow it, right? So because guaranteed, in this kind of market, there's going to be like I said, hills and valleys. And there's already people that have sold for a loss, right? And there's already people that have sold for record-breaking sales this year. It's going to happen, and that's going to continue to be the trend probably for the next 12 to 18 months until we really see a steady decline. Now, remember, last week I was like super optimistic. I was saying, hey, and I'm not taking away from the optimism. In fact, it plays into the optimism. This is the year. Now is the time, right? The data shows it. Don't believe me, believe the data, right? But I'm just telling you from my perspective, right? There's no reason to believe that home prices are going to be higher or even where they're at today in 18 months. There's no data or anything that shows that gives you any reason to believe that the prices are going to be higher or where they're at today. Then like, you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like, I think I'm like confusing myself, but bottom line is this, is that no more waiting. Patience is key, but the time is now. You might have to sit on the market for 30, 45, 60, 90 days, but you will get the highest and best price. I want to leave you with a quote, highest and best price if you sell in like the next 90 days, honestly. Straight up. And I'm not being a fearmonger, I'm just being truthful. Bottom line, I have one from NAR. Housing market in 2019 will require homeowners to list their house at the right price to attract buyers. If interest rates continues to stay low while wages increase and more inventory comes to market, 2019 could be one of the best years for home sales in recent history. Listen, folks, you are the driver of your own ship, the master of your own destiny. Don't want to be the one to say I told you so, but guaranteed I'm going to pull this video up in probably like 18 months and tell a couple people that I'm sorry, but I told you so. Catch you guys in the next video.